knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor.
They try to save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good.
Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Got it. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
What's up, everybody? Wayne Spooney here. The Celtics are 10-3, monster win against Brooklyn. While you're here, please like the stream, first to the floor, maybe join our Patreon. I'm here with Jake Eisenberg. What's up, Jake?
Definitely join the Patreon. Yeah. Definitely hit the like button. But yeah, man, I'm good. I feel like, I wonder if I feel similar to how the Celtics feel after this last stretch of the schedule. I mentioned last pod, like my legs starting to work again. And I'm so sore. I did the lightest sort of squats and deadlifts over the past few days, and my gluteus maximuses are sore. And these boys have just come out of 5 games in 7 nights, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a hard schedule from a quality perspective, but that's 5 games in 7 nights is so crazy, dude. Like that's so insane.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't only cakewalks either. I mean, the Warriors game was in there. Yep. And sneaky Atlanta without Trae Young was in there too. So, which I guess they're just a better team. I don't know. I'm not.
The Bucks are still so we haven't actually beaten a team above 500. I don't think technically.
That's not our fault. That's the East's fault.
I agree. Like no, but it's like Knicks, Bucks twice. Those should count as. I might be missing one. Like those to me count as teams. Like they're going to end up above 500. Well,
Indy beat us. Fuck
yeah, we lost. So like the Nets were above 500, but everyone's kind of close. But those 3 games feel like they will eventually count as against teams that are above 500. It would be hilarious if they don't end up counting because that means things have gone even worse than they probably feel right now. But yeah. Weird part of the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. And it was backloaded too, right? We just had the back-to-back at the very end of it, which is the hardest. What makes that win against Brooklyn, I think, even more impressive. We talked about it in depth. We went a little long on instant reactions last night, almost 25 minutes. So if you're looking for like a really in-depth discussion of that game and the vibes are super high, check out instant reactions. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to belabor it. I just found a couple stats I thought were interesting. The Celtics shot almost 80% at the rim. The Nets shot 71% at the rim, which is like slightly above average. And that's a number I think we need to be tracking because we had been terrible at rim protection and tracking down. It's tracking down. The entire defense is tracking positively in the month of November. And I think the rim defense is a big part of it. And the Nets shot 3 of 10 in the short mid-range. And that's really a function of rim protection too, because you're keeping them away from the rim, forcing these the floater range stuff. So I just think like the offense was the story, but I do think defensively the Nets made some shit. But it was a pretty good defensive performance, at least insofar as we defended the rim.
Yeah, that's good to know. It's hard for me to get too worried about the rim protection and the defense when I know what they're capable of, but it is good. Like I do want to find like a slightly higher baseline. And as you said, it's tracking in the right direction. You know, they're in the top 10. My number is I want them to be at 7 or 6th on the season. That's enough for them to get above 60 wins and probably go for the 1 seed. Who knows? When Kristaps comes back, I have this feeling and this idea in my head that it's just going to provide this insane spark, which it just will purely if he's healthy, which he obviously would be, like just because how incredible he is. But I think that the other players are going to feel rejuvenated by his return, and I think that will like mostly be to do with the defense and like a lot, as we said, a lot of the rim protection stuff is also keeping guys in front. and just like making the shots at the rim more difficult. And I think the last few games we've seen that a little bit more, maybe not the Hawks game. Granted, that was more to do with the turnovers and the rebounding. But yeah, that's good. Not a ton from the Nets game. It's just good to see them bounce back in that type of emphatic fashion, because that's how they got to 64 wins last year, was no losing streaks.
Yeah.
And of very few, I think they lost 2 games at least once, and that may have been it. Maybe it was twice all last year. And that's how you just you keep your baseline for racking up wins so high.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, just think back on how the team reacted when he came back for game 1 of the finals. It was just like, our prince is back. Let's go fucking destroy these dudes. And that is exactly what happened. So, and especially when he's going to be coming back, right when the dog days of the season are really starting, and you can kind of slip into some bad habits or not bringing it 100%. And to have him come back and the spacing is fucking out of control when he's playing. Al can make threes, Al can shoot threes. He's not Chris Stapps with the trigger. His trigger is fast and he can shoot from deep. And you cannot switch against the Celtics when Chris Stapps plays. And I think you've been hitting on it a lot, Jake, is you just need to switch against this team and hope that you can stop them getting to the rim. Well, KP blows that entire strategy up. So the prevailing defensive strategy when KP is playing is that you just hope they miss their threes, which is not a very good defensive strategy. One kind of goofy stat I thought just goes to show how fucking insane the offense was. They were more efficient in the half court against the Nets than in transition, which is a rarity, almost never happens. And it's not because we were inefficient in transition. It's because we had 123 offensive rating in the half court. We lead the league at 109. So that's just absurd. Their execution was amazing. And I think we talked about it a lot last night. They took care of the little things on both sides of the ball. They executed the offense and they made their shots. But it was just felt to get good to get back to it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Tatum talked about the physics. Someone asked me about the physicality and how that's the book is out on them or whatever. And I think we talked about it last night, but to combat that, you have to just play faster and make quicker decisions. And that was the most obvious thing last night, is when Tatum would catch the ball, whether it was coming off screens or just attacking quickly off the catch. You if you're going to get up into guys, if you're attacking quickly and ripping through and just getting downhill, it kind of backfires, and that's the only way to play against that type of physicality. And so it's just good to see them know, and we know that they know, but it's just good to see them go combat that by playing the exact way that we want. Interesting question from Chris in the chat. How worried would you be if we finished second in the conference and so wouldn't have home court for the Eastern Conference Finals and Finals? Interestingly, I think it's very likely that both the Cavs and the Celtics end up with the first and second best record in the league. We'll see. Obviously, right now, the Thunder, Warriors, and Suns are all 10-2, 9-2, 9-3. So, it would be very close right now. But the West is just so much deeper, and the East so far has been garbage. So, I think it's likely that the Celtics and the Cavs end up the 1 and 2 seed overall. I wouldn't be super worried about playing the Cavs on the road, to be honest. But I prefer to get the 1 seed. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can even, who knows who comes out of the West? It could be the 5 seed. True. Weren't the Mavs the 5, or they were the 4 maybe last year? So
the 5, yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think Oklahoma City will have the best record in the West. They are not a shoo-in to make the finals. I think they'd probably be slight favorites, but the field would be a heavy, heavy favorite against Oklahoma City by themselves. So I'm not worrying about the finals, that home court situation, because there's so much to break. But odds are we will play in the Eastern Conference Finals, almost assuredly. I don't know if it's going to be Cleveland. It looks like it will be, but it's way too early in the season. The Knicks could figure it out. I'm not particularly bullish on that happening, considering I've watched Karl Anthony Towns play defense, but the Bucks, maybe Middleton comes back, right?
Sure.
So I'm not too worried about it. It's too early in the season to worry about it. And yeah, I think even if it's the Cavs, man, I think they won game 2 in Boston, and then
I was going to say,
yeah.
how many game 1s or 2s have the Celtics lost at home in the past 3 seasons? Like I could almost argue that it's better to start on. Obviously, you would want, like, if you got home court, I think it would be cool to choose how the games are set up as opposed to it just being 2-2, 1-1-1. I would choose 100% game 1 and 2 to be on the road, and then have like the next 2 at home.
4.
Yeah, and then maybe the next 2, but you get game 7 at home. So it's like, that's how I would set it up, because Tatum always plays better on the road early in a series for some reason. They often drop one of the first 2 games at home. So obviously it would never happen, but I can convince myself that it would be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, wasn't that the weird thing? They used to do it in the first 2 rounds, I think, where it was like 2-3-2.
Yeah.
And teams hated that because it's like, if the lower seed stole one of the first 2 games, it's like, hey man, we could just win 3 straight at home. It never happened, but that's why they changed it. I think in like the early 2000s. But all right, one thing about the game, we wanted to talk about this. If you're wondering where Drew Carter is, we couldn't make the times work. He was supposed to be on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to record with him next week. So we're not just killing time until Drew gets here. It'll be next week sometime, but we will let you know, keep you updated, post in the Discord. Tatum missed a technical free throw.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Yeah, take us away, Jake.
All right. So we'll definitely bring this back up with Drew, because I really want to get this suggestion like out into the ether and get someone to ask Tatum about it. So obviously Drew Carter brought it up to Scout on the broadcast. Like, how do the conversations about technical free throws work? Missoula said that it's just like the players on the court decide. Clearly it's Tatum takes them if he's on the court, and that's just how it works. And not everybody, but a lot of people are like, okay, Derek White, Payton Pritchard are probably the 2 guys that you want at the line. Derek White, 90%. Pritchard, career, 90%. Those are the 2 guys I would have out there. Like, if you're going to have a hierarchy of who should be taking them, I think Derek should be number 1, because like, he's a starter. He's like one of your main guys. He's more in rhythm. Pritchard missed 2 free throws yesterday. Small sample size, whatever. But so I have Derek White if he's on the court. And if he's not on the court, then we Pritchard. Then I still think Tatum's probably your best bet. Can make an argument for Luke Cornett at this point. Dude's been like absolutely money at the free throw line.
Yeah.
I mean, Horford's 3 for 3 at the line this season as well. But
100%.
Career 76% Horford free throw shooter. So here's my pitch to Tatum, because 1, you should want to win. Like any margin is important. So I would say to Tatum, you can have your technical free throw privileges back once your free throw percentage on the season goes over 85%. As soon as you hit the 85% mark, you can have your technical free throws back. That would be my pitch to Tatum as a fun way to like make him focus at the free throw line, Jason. Goodness gracious.
I know. It really does seem sometimes he's like, oh, this is just going to go down. And then he misses it and he's like, okay. Because he missed one early. He missed 2 last night, but I think he hit a bunch in a row. Like, I feel like he hits a bunch in a row and then he'll miss like 3 of 4. So the counter arguments to that, I think it's Tatum's the best player on the team. And the best player on the team basically decides who takes it. And if you know Jason Tatum, he's going to want to take it. And it keeps him in a rhythm.
That's the argument.
Like he gets easy buckets. And he takes the most free throws. So he's got the most practice. I don't know. I'm kind of pulling that one out of nowhere. What about Drew is one I would consider instead. No, no Drew.
Do you know do you want to know his career free throw? It's below 80%.
Really?
It's like 78.
He's been so good for us from the line, but
no.
Okay. All right.
It's definitely not
Pritchard then. Yeah, Pritchard's
definitely
in the
Derek,
2 slot.
Then Pritchard. Ben shout out Ben, our fearless leader. The alpha gorilla gets to bang all the lady gorillas, even if the beta gorilla is technically a better lover.
That's just science.
That's just straight up science, dude. David Attenborough
Jane
would be
Goodall
proud.
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so the higher volume of free throws, like the more you shoot, the lower your percentage can kind of be as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I do actually buy the Tatum gets to, like, if he's having a bad night, he gets to have a technical free throw shot that could like help him get a rhythm. I would love to know if there's actually been a study done, because it's such a classic basketball trope. Oh, got to the free throw line, he sees one go through.
I know.
And and now he's in a rhythm. And I swear that never works. I don't know.
There probably is a study out there or something, like Harvard did it, but yeah, or like, hey, I love getting Tatum an easy look at the rim to start the game. That's, and it's like, does that really what happens? Who the fuck knows? Maybe
if he believes it, then it's probably worth it.
That's all that matters.
So much of this is mental, and if you make one free throw after going like 0 for 4 from 3, feel a little bit better. It's not going to change probably, but when Drew Carter's on, I will propose this to him that the next time Tatum misses a technical free throw, there should be a proposition from Derek White and Payton Pritchard that they're now ours until you make 85% of your free throws.
The TTP, the Tatum technical proposition. I love it. Yeah. Let's set it in stone, baby. Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk. We have some emerging trends. Ben put in the title that it's 5. We'll probably... I think we have 4, and knowing Jake and I, we will end with about 10. Yeah. So, but before we jump into that, we have a word from our sponsor, Game Time.
The wait is over. Celtics basketball is back, and Game Time is the best way to get your tickets to see the best team in the NBA. Game Time has tickets for all events, concerts and shows, not just sports. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We used Game Time to get our tickets to Summer League, and it couldn't have been easier. You could go see the Bucks in TD Garden for as little as $77, or maybe you want to drive to Charlotte to watch Tatum drop 50 on the Hornets as per usual. That will only cost you $26 to get in the building. Game Time has the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!
Game Time rocks, super easy to use. You can flip on that thing to show you the actual price, so there's no surprises at checkout. WVU plays Pitt tomorrow. Huge rivalry game. Okay. Backyard brawl, about 70 miles north. So I will probably not be able to go, but I will longingly look at prices on Game Time and feel like I went.
I saw some crazy stuff on the internet with people wearing Western Virginia University clothes the other day. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So...
Yeah, we do a lot of crazy shit in West Virginia. There's no laws, baby. It's lawless country.
Freedom's awesome, dude.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Let's get to some trends throughout the season so far. And we did kind of team-wide trends. These are more player specific, either skills or position battles. And the first one I want to propose here is a position battle. And I think it's the most clear position battle we've had it in this rotation for, I feel like, a long time. And that's Luke versus Kata. Right now, they're both seeing minutes because when Al Horford sits, and there's just not a lot of depth there, and Xavier Tillman is basically entirely out of the rotation.
Yeah.
But when Al's back and KP's back, there is going to be about 10 minutes for one of them. I would say right now, I feel like Kata is in the slight lead, but I went deep dive. This is divorce level research here.
We're back, dude.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Mid-season form. What I care about with these two is not their stats. It's how the team plays when they're on the court. So that's what all of these are. These are the stats for the team. Defensive rating with Kata, 103, elite. Defensive rating with Luke, 119, worst defense in the league. Okay,
not elite.
Looks bad. Opponents are shooting 50% from 3 when Luke is out there and 29% from 3 when Kata's out there. So keep an eye on that defensive rating for each of these guys. That might normalize some, although I do feel like Kata has been a little more dynamic defensively so far this year.
Eye test wise, that I believe that.
Yeah. So I wanted to see how each of them's doing with the two bench guys, PP and Sam. Luke +2 in 86 minutes, Kata plus 13.8 in 83 minutes. So they have almost the exact same time with those two. A lot of that's the defensive rating, though, the opponent 3-point shooting. Rebounding. This is where Luke's stands can really plant their flag, though. The team has a 75.5 defensive rebounding percentage when Luke's on, only 68.7, which is like worse than the league when Kata is on the court. Opponents shoot a lower percentage, about 1% worse at the rim when Kata's playing, but they shoot more often at the rim when Kata's playing, which I think also tracks the eye test. Like he's more out of position than Luke.
Yes.
But when he's there, you are not scoring on that motherfucker because he is huge and athletic. So I would say slight edge to Kata for me, and I think part of that's Luke feels like he hasn't really found his place offensively either this year.
Yeah, I thought we saw a little bit last night, and Scal's talked about it. We've talked about it. You got to be a threat on offense. Scal was like, I don't think they're guarding Kata at all last night. And then Tatum had an awesome, he got hit on the short roll, and then he threw a no-look alley-oop to Kata for a dunk, which was filthy. They have to be threats offensively, and right now it feels like Kata is at least aggressive offensively. It hurts me to he's been better a little bit lately with some of these touch shots. He hasn't gone to the hook shot that I was complaining about as much these last few games. He's more doing like these little floaters.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if they're going in more, but that is a bit of a change.
He made 2 last night.
Yeah, he made 2 last night. He's definitely been more aggressive looking at the rim than Luke Cornett has. So I think that's part of it. If teams are like watching tape and being like, Luke Cornett's looking to pass. It reminds me of Gordon Hayward back in the day post-injury. It's just like teams can't just start playing you for the pass. You have to be aggressive. The rebounding percentage, I actually believe it's like when there's a contested rebound to get, Kata will probably do a better job getting it, but Kata has a problem deciding on whether or not he should contest a shot, and I think that's putting him out of position, leading to offensive rebounds. And I think that's probably where those numbers are swinging, whereas Luke is in the right position more often than not, whereas Kata is getting himself out of position.
Yeah, and I think it's the young Rob Williams thing. Rob used to do this all the time where he was trying to go for the highlight block and it'd take him out of rebounding position. What it also does is if you commit too early trying to get a block and they pass, they get an easy shot at the rim, and that's probably partially why teams are getting more looks at the rim when Kata's out there. I also think part of that might be because we'll switch a lot more often with Kata, so he's not around the rim quite as much as Luke is. I just think Luke's floor is undoubtedly higher. Kata has a pretty low floor at times, but his ceiling is considerably higher than Luke's, and I think teams respect Kata as a roll man a little bit more. Like Luke does his business in the short roll, but like Kata's a dude who can roll to the rim and catch an oop, and Luke does it sometimes. But Kata's just a better athlete. He's got a bigger wingspan. He needs to work on his hands a little bit, but he's been okay. He's been better, and I have noticed Kata's working in the handoff game a lot better recently.
Yes,
and he's been picking out some passes here and there too. So I'd like to. Luke's very good at that, but if Kata can kind of develop that skill, man, like all of a sudden he's a super interesting fourth center. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, he's going to make a run at the third center spot between him and Luke right now.
Yeah.
It feels like that's definitely been the biggest progression for Kata so far, has been his decision. He had an awesome short roll decision to the corner yesterday.
I tweeted it out.
Yeah, perfect. It was like, oh my goodness, it's tall Luke Cornett. This is beautiful. Like, that's just not a pass and a decision he was able to make with that type of speed 2 weeks ago. And it's exciting. It's kind of just fun. This whole Kata experience, like to have a guy like Kata that we're just like seeing him learn and grow and look really good at times in the Warriors game, and then look really bad at other times. And it's just like, okay, but it's a fun subplot to a season that, probably wasn't going to have a ton of these things when you bring back your entire roster. You won the championship last year, so to have this little Kata thing to follow along with is quite enjoyable. Philip Hart in the chat, can you shamelessly plug a Kata song that you made? Yes, you absolutely can. put the link in the chat right now, dude.
Yeah, drop it.
That sounds awesome. And yeah, shout out Rui on Twitter. I know he loves the pod, follows the pod as well. He's been
Rui's the man. Yeah,
living the good life with the fellow Portuguese legend Neemy Cater this year. So it's been fun, man, and I'm encouraged at least him becoming a third center that we're like happy that and comfortable that can eat innings in the regular season. Like, have you seen what Philly is dealing with Andre fucking Drummond, dude? He has been a straight up disaster. And I was, getting gaslit all off season about Drummond's fine. It's like, no, dude.
No, he's not.
Like, he's bad. He's so bad. And Cater's, look, good. I think we're riding the line right now of, is he good? And it's just playing on this team. You can kind of survive with a player out there for a few minutes when he's not excellent. But he's definitely been good at times. And if we can get him to be good at times, to be like 75% of the time, then we're cooking with gas.
Yeah, for sure. And one nice thing, he's on year 1 of a 3-year contract at a minimum. So like the fact that he has some development potential and he's signed, and I don't even believe all of it's fully guaranteed. Yeah, we could cut him for half price next year. So like there's basically no risk, and it's just another classic Brad Stevens, like no risk, and this guy all of a sudden looks really good and we have him locked up on the super cheap. So Brad's pretty fucking good at this, huh?
There's gonna be this veterans minimum platoon approach. Brad has absolutely nailed it. You've got 3 big men on minimums that are all, well, one of them is not contributing at all, but we were very excited about coming in. And then Horford, who's making 9.5. So you've got these 4 centers that are making like a combined 15 or 16 million that you just like fix it all together.
Yeah. Who's got it tonight? Yeah.
Who's got it? Horford's resting tonight. We can keep his minutes down throughout the season. And then, fingers crossed, Al Horford does not retire. We're going to have another dude on a veterans minimum next year in Al Horford. So you just got like 4 centers, 4 minimums, and you just like mix and match and keep Al Horford fresh until he's 150,000 years old.
Yeah. And he will still look the same because he doesn't age. All right, Jake, what do you got for us next?
All right. So Payton Pritchard, we've been talking about him all season long because he's just been absolutely insane. I wrote about Pritchard for a Celtics blog. If you want to go check it out, Payton Pritchard, the lethal weapon, is what the title to the article is called. And yeah, he's just become unfair at this point. So he has hit 5 threes in a game 6 times this season. That we've played 13 NBA games, dude.
I know, it's half the games.
Like that's just completely unfair so his weaponization, and you got to give credit to Pritchard for being this level of confidence, for the level of work ethic to be able to actually do this on a basketball court. But I think you also have to credit Missoula and the Jays with empowering Pritchard, because he has the ultimate green light. There's not really a shot that he doesn't seem to be comfortable taking. And I think that's a credit to Missoula and a credit to the Jays. Like, how many superstars, don't want their 6-man taking shots away from them. And so his empowerment to take really any shot that he feels that he can make at any point in the game, whether it's like not just blowout stuff now. It's not just like net rating protector P or pro-am P. It's like clutch P. We were down 5 in this game, and Payton Pritchard, in both Bucks games, we've needed him, and he's had 19 and 17 points in those first halves alone, and like kept us in games. Tatum, I've basically just said the whole article here, but like Tatum was like, he changes the courses of games, whether it's keeping you in it or extending leads. It's like you play the Celtics tough, and then Payton Pritchard comes off the bench and bangs 5 threes, something he's done 6 out of 13 times. That's got to be so demoralizing.
I know, dude. And it's like, oh, thank God Tatum's getting a blow. And Payton Pritchard just hit a 30-foot 3 and is now screaming in my face. Shit, what just happened? a player has made 5 or more threes 171 times this season, and Pritchard has 6 of them, which is just absolutely insane, dude. So it is not like a
Crazy.
super common thing. So he's just been really, really, really good. And I mean, we've talked a lot about him, and for good reason. But I feel like he's on the ball like more often too, and I think that also plays a part in feeling more confident and feeling like you're a part of the offense and feeling like you're empowered to do these things. Is like you're not just like, go back to his rookie year, or like especially his second year, third year, when he didn't have a super big role. He was just kind of sitting in the corner, and it's like, you cannot play Payton Pritchard like that. You need to let him spread his wings, let that beautiful bird fly and shoot from 30 feet away like he's in Angry Birds, man. I kind of like the Angry Bird as a nickname for Peyton. Yeah, you're muted, Jake. Yeah.
You just slingshot this dude off the bench into the game, and he just knocks over
and then
everybody.
he slingshots shots in from 30 plus feet. So he's been so good. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, is it unfair to expect this much out of Payton Pritchard? I just don't see how you can't keep playing him 30 minutes a night. Like, you got to at least ride him until it kind of slows down a little bit. But I think with his improvements, or phrasing there from me, but I think with his improvements, even if the shots not going down, I think he's a positive player anyway.
Yeah, the defense has been really good. Ben noted a play, underrated plays, that I was going to share and didn't share. So I'll just talk about it. But it's like the Nets game, and Pritchard really smoothly executes a couple of switches. It feels like they're trying to actually target him. He like does a nice scram switch to get out of the Claxton matchup. He ends up with that guy. Was it Keon Johnson for the Nets, I think? Hyper athletic, matched up on the wing.
Yep.
Pritchard cuts him off. Jalen does like weird nail help and ends up with a Schroeder wide open 3, which he misses. Nets get the offensive rebound. Ends up with another Keon Johnson isolation on Pritchard. Pritchard makes him give the ball up to Claxton, and then he denies the cut to the rim. I had a look at like the defensive like field goal percentages with guys matched up with Pritchard. It is higher than some of the other guys, like 45% in the mid range and 69% at the rim, which like for his size is not bad. I always find that those numbers can often be kind of weird, like the defensive field goal percentage matchup stuff. But like the eye test, I think that they should just not be sending help on any time Payton Pritchard is posted up, unless it's a very obvious mismatch, whether it's, the obvious ones are, the Jokic's, the Embiids, and the Giannis's, and some of the more like Jimmy Butler, the like legit apex predator scorers in the NBA. But if guys like Taurean Prince, Keon Johnson, Cam Thomas want to post up Payton Pritchard, like, go for it. I would not compromise the defense and give up catch and shoot 3-pointers to have these guys. Dicey, he has had great different defensive possessions on the Hawks wings as well. Like, he's providing that, and he's a legit offensive rebounder. He had that one play yesterday where he not just got the offensive rebound, but he tipped it in somehow.
I know, that was crazy.
Yeah, so he's providing a lot that's not just the scoring, and that's how he was going to able to stay on the court last year and in the playoffs, is because he does this other stuff. But now he's living up to his offensive potential.
Yeah, dude, living up to the offensive potential and turning into like a good defensive player is wild. It's funny you say that about not compromising the defense when he's on somebody, because I counted, I think, 3 times when he had a driver tracked. It was not a dangerous drive to the rim. Pritchard was there, and it wasn't like a big he was guarding or anything like that. It wasn't like Cam Johnson. I think one time it was Keon. Another time it was Cam Thomas. And it's like, if they're going to finish over Pritchard, let him finish over Pritchard. But I know once Kata came over when he didn't need to, and it led to a wide open 3. And another time Tatum did. That might have been the weird nail help possession you were talking about. And it's like, dude, he's good. Trust him. But like for me, his point of attack defense, and I clipped this last night, he's just everywhere on people. Like nobody can shake him. And he's just switching on to everybody,
Awesome.
every guard, every ball handler, and dudes don't even really want to try him. And his screen navigation, I feel like, has gotten way, way better too, which was something that needed a big improvement because he would get caught on screens at times. But he's like darting over handoffs and still staying with his guy. And that way you don't have to switch like a Luke Cornett onto a ball handler or something like that. Like if you can get over the top of screens without needing to switch and not give up an advantage, that breaks offenses. That's why Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday and Derek White are so fucking good, because you can't screen them. And Pritchard's like not that good at it yet, but he is definitely improved, which is huge.
Yeah, I think that again goes back to his work ethic. Like I feel as if, if certain players go to teams that have players that have certain skills, it'd be like, oh, this guy's going to get to spend time with this player. He's going to be able to learn this type of skill, like we hoped with Al Horford teaching Xavier Tillman to shoot threes. Alas. Whereas I think Payton Pritchard may have gotten better at this regardless, but he has spent his entire career sharing a basketball jersey with Marcus Smart, Derek White, and Drew Holiday for his entire life. So, like, there's probably something to that combined with the fact that he probably would have gotten better at it anyway. But yeah, dude, he's gotten so much better at that. He clearly keeps getting stronger as well. So to be a guy that is, capable defensively at his size, plus given like this type of offensive production, is insane. So I had one more stat for Pritchard. So there's 89 players in the NBA that are averaging at least 15 points per game. Pritchard is fourth in the NBA in true shooting among all of them at like 67.4, I think it is. And the only guys ahead of him are Sabonis, Vucevic, and Naz Reid. It's just like, what is
Big
going
men,
on, dude?
dudes who dunk and layup. Like, I mean, Naz Reid and Vooch also prop their efficiency up with threes too. But like Sabonis doesn't shoot out of 10 feet. Of course he's efficient. You got this dude's bombing from 39 times a game. And he is literally one of the most efficient volume scorers in the NBA, which seems absurd to say about Payton Pritchard and not Jason Tatum. But that's where we're at with this dude. He's that friggin' good. But all right, what do we got next, Jake?
Lethal weapon. All right, the Tatum leap. So he's gotten better every year. The way that he's playing this season is fantastic, man. Like it's kind of the culmination of a bunch of different stuff. Steven in the Discord kind of was like, it's kind of the three things that he's done this year. One, he's traded some of his mid-range shots for threes. Because his mid-range percentage has always kind of been like the same as his three-point percentage. So you should kind of just end up taking threes. I know Eric Weiss I can hear him now being like, if he's on balance in the mid-range, he can make them. And I do agree with that. He just doesn't seem to be able to get to that sort of stuff. It's the off-ball stuff as well this year. So this season, he's averaging 3.9 catch-and-shoot three-pointers. Whereas last year, he was only taking 2.3 catch and shoots. So almost doubling his catch and shoot opportunities this year. And I think it's twofold. I think one, they're getting him in some more off-ball actions. Like him as the screener, I think he's getting better as a screener as well. Him as a screener with Derek White as like, that's like their go-to crunch time offense and go-to action throughout a game is the Derek Tatum two-man game, whether Tatum's the screener or the ball handler, but as the screener, he's springing free for catch and shoot opportunities, and there's that, so he's getting more of those, but I also think his trigger is faster. I think we saw in the finals a little bit, and in the Olympics, like, he was just hesitant to shoot off the catch, and now he's just like, any semblance of a look, he's taking it. And last night in the Nets game, multiple shots that were like kind of well defended, and are probably going to be in that like tightly contested range. But because it's the catch and shoot and guys aren't able to like sprint out and get elevation on contests at the same time, and he's 6'9" with long arms, guys aren't going to be contesting your catch and shoot opportunities. And so I think quick trigger plus extra off ball looks has led to these extra opportunities. And he's at 46% on them this year, catch and shoots, versus 43 last year. He's been elite on the catch and shoots his whole career. And so, yeah, so we'll start with that. That's been one part of his increased efficiency. I can see you've got something for me here.
So I was trying to find a clip, but my computer is not cooperating. And it's the clip of him on the short roll when he set the screen for Derek and they trapped Derek White. If you trap the ball handler when Jason Tatum sets a screen, you are dead. It's over. You better steal that pass because it is over. If he has nobody in front of him and he can either just walk into a wide open three, or in this case, he gets downhill and he throws that lob to Kata. It was the play you were talking about earlier. It's like he's way too good of a decision maker to let him do that. His shot is going in on wide open shots. He's basically not missing. And he's so good at manipulating the defense with like his eyes now, which is just kind of a progression. It's not totally showing up in the assist numbers, although he is at 5.6 this year. So agenda completed so far. But like he's just like moving defenses around with like his looking at them, which is like the final level of being a superstar. And so that like he gets himself into really, really great positions off the ball this year. And I feel like he's coming off of more wide pin downs with pace. He used to half-ass it so bad on some of these like off-ball actions, but I think he's now realized like, wait, if I take this as seriously as running a pick and roll, I'll get wide open shots this way too. And I think it was the Atlanta game. He came off like flying off a wide pin down, caught it, turned, fire, bottom of the net. And it's like, this is it. This is the final evolution of this dude. He's got all the on-ball shit you could ever want. And now he's becoming like a really intelligent, effective off-ball player. Plus, he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Guy's a superstar. He's the second best player in the league this year. I totally 100% believe that.
I agree. Giannis is making a comeback for that second slot now. It's a good thing the rest of his team's absolutely garbage. But yeah, man, so there's the
True.
the off ball. It's not just so it's the quick trigger, the off ball. Yeah, that's a really good call. Like he's always been an underrated off ball player.
Yeah.
Like you think about the way that he would seal. I've got like visions of him sealing Kyrie, burned into my brain from both the Nets series and the finals. So he's always been pretty good off ball, but I think it's just gotten even better, like really understanding how to manipulate those defenses with his own gravity, and with like Derek White's gravity now too, and understanding like where defenses are going and how to create space for himself. So there's that piece of it. The second piece is the free throw rate. So he's up to 8.9 free throw attempts per game. That's crazy. So I was like in my head, I was like, is that like unsustainable? It might be a little bit unsustainable, but he actually took 6.7 free throw attempts last year, but the year before he took 8.4. And so it was trending up for his entire career, free throw attempts, until last year. And I feel like last year he really did take a step back. I think now that you look at how he's playing this year, he sacrificed last year, as Jalen did, as all of these guys did, but he definitely sacrificed. And I think there's a little bit of that, a little bit of just like moving the ball. They were just killing everybody. He didn't need to like get downhill as much. But people, he's getting a lot of fouls on 3-point attempts as well. So I actually don't think it's necessarily unsustainable. Maybe 8.9 is too much, but if it can settle in at like 8, that's a crazy number. And I'm assuming like the free throw percentage is back up to 81% now at this point. So like that's fine. It'll probably end up at around 83 to 84 as it always does. So that just adds a massive boost to his efficiency between the catch and shoot on the 3-point stuff and the free throw attempts. Those two things combined, and then he's just been more efficient in isolation this year as well. So
yeah,
we're 13 games in now. Like we're starting to get away a little bit from like we're still early in the season. We are still early in the season, but that's starting to get to like a relatively large sample size, and he's improved. He's like one of the best isolation scorers in the league so far this year. Yeah,
and I think it's a combination of like I think it's the quick trigger, like you said, especially like the pull. He's getting some of these pull-offs off like so quickly, and they're going down, and he's getting fouled. And he feels so on balance and in control this year when he's getting to the rim. And some of these finishes he's having is like, I can't totally remember him doing stuff like this, like it all that often, where he's coming from like the right side of the hoop, getting all the way to the left side of the hoop, and then finishing left. I feel like especially early in his career, he would try to make that a right-handed finish, and it was just way more difficult than it needed to be. And when you're on balance and comfortable and not over your skis when you go to the rim, you're going to draw fouls. That's just what happens. Like, you're not going to lose the ball. You're not going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to be flailing it around. So he's fourth in the NBA in free throw attempts per game, and two guys ahead of him are not playing. It's Paulo Banchero and Zion Williamson. So of dudes who've played like a full sample size.
Shea and
Giannis and Tatum.
Oh, Shea's not ahead.
Yeah, Shea's ninth at 7.5.
Washed.
And so right? What a bum. And even if Tatum dropped down to 8 or 7.9, that'd be 6th, 7th range, which is like totally fine for a wing. Somebody like Giannis or Embiid's going to always lead the NBA in free throw shooting. So he's just turned into so like we always talk about he doesn't have weaknesses. We're getting to the point where like everything is a strength. And it's like, what do you even do with a dude who's like not only not bad at everything, he's fucking good at everything.
Oh, dude. This start to the season's been really, really impressive. I feel like I've seen a lot more getting into the lane 2 foot and actually just like launching into and like trying to finish through guys.
Yes.
That's like still not as much as I know some people would like to see, but that's definitely been something that I have seen more. He gets downhill, gets 2 feet, and just tries to finish through. And he has finished through, and he has almost had a few and ones in ways that like I'm not used to seeing. So that's something that I'm definitely keeping my eye on. And then another thing that like we all want Tatum to get to the six assists is kind of that's like the next number we'd like him to hit. He's officially at 5.6. So for agenda purposes, you can round up. And so now we're
there we go.
Yeah. So we're at 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. 38 and 6 on 63% true shooting is just nutty stuff. But like assist numbers can be funny. Potential assists, 11.8 this year versus 8.9 last year. My research I've done on potential assists, like easy math, 50%. Is a good way to look at it. And so that kind of checks out. He's right around 6 assists. Like if those potential assist numbers maintain at 11.8, then we should get very close to 6 assists for the year. And so 38 and 6 on like 60, he's gonna easily get above 60% true shooting. So 38 and 6 on 60% true shooting, maybe 62 plus like this. Like the turnovers have come up a little bit because the assists have gone up. The assist to turnover ratio is still like really nice, especially for like a wing. Man, it's another step. I don't know if I want to go leap, but like step is definitely being made in front of our eyes.
And sprinkle some elite defense on that too, and
yes.
You're really cooking. RJ, we will get to your comment really quick, but we have to get into our last ad read. But thank you, RJ. JT's drives last night was him looking to finish and not grifting for a foul. Love it. And I think he's been starting to do that all season. I think that's absolutely spot on. But here's a word for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sign up today, get $50 off instantly when you play $5. I wish I could sign up again to get that deal. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off, who's not. Make your pick in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. So this week, looking at the board, I don't care what the Jason Tatum point totals are. I'm taking more on those. I hate to do it. He's a Laker. can't deny Anthony Davis been absolutely balling. Give me more on his rebounds. I think it was 11 last game. And then Giannis, I think we're respecters of Giannis Antetokounmpo on this podcast. So his line, 29.5 points. Give me more on Giannis's points. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Prize Picks, just, make the game a little bit more interesting, more or less. Maybe take more Payton Pritchard everything because he's going more on just about
Not
every
on
night.
NBA Cup nights, though. That's
no,
for
not
damn
on the
sure.
cup. Yeah,
God,
the
they
lights are
killed
too
me.
bright. Yeah,
They killed me, dude. Every 4 bets I made for the NBA Cup, all 4 of them miss. The next night, the exact same 4 bets all hit the next night. So not NBA Cup, because I'm not sure the Celtics respect the cup. But the only last trend is like kind of the same thing with the free throws. Is the Jalen's also averaging 8 free throws a game, which is up from 4.3 the year before. That would be a massive increase for him. I feel like he is someone that deserves 7+ free throws with the way that he plays. So, but I don't know. It feels unsustainable when you just see 4.3 last year and 8 this year. We'll see. Even if that settles into like 6.5, that will drastically help his free throw, his efficiency. His true shooting is garbage so far. It's like 53% this year because before he got injured, he couldn't make a shot from anywhere really, except for the free throw line. And now he's come back and he looks a lot more like Jalen, making his 3s and 2s and missing his free throws. That's Jalen Brown. We know and love. But if he can, even if he's a 72% free throw shooter and he's getting to the line 7 or 8 times a game, that's still very valuable.
Yeah, 100%. He is at 76.4%, but that early hot shooting from the line makes me think that is not totally representative. Yeah. And if he's at 6.5, that puts him top 20 in the NBA in free throws per game. Fantastic. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like Jalen is so strong that it doesn't look like he gets fouled because it just doesn't impact when he goes to the rim at all. So it almost works against him in that way. But yeah, we should probably move on really quickly. Seeing Jalen's free throw rate go up, though, I'll definitely be tracking that. We'll be tracking that just to see. But yeah, man, he should not average 4 free throws a game. That's bananas, dude. That's nuts. Okay, the last one I have, we can be quick on this. I tried to look up some Jordan Walsh propaganda for this segment.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really could not. I even was like, net rating wise, he's a +2. Not bad, but we're way, way, way worse with him on the court than off. To the tune
not a
of
surprise.
No, not a surprise, but -19. I'm pretty sure it's his on-off differential, so not ideal.
It's hard when all the other players are so fucking good. When Payton Pritchard's now like one of the best scorers in the NBA.
It's tough. So I saw, his stats per game. Like obviously they're not going to be anything. He barely plays. What about per 36 minutes? Yeah, we can find some propaganda in there. 5.7 points per 36, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. The only thing I found, 2.5 stocks per 36 minutes.
Ooh.
So there we go. Yeah, huh? And then eye test wise, he definitely looks more comfortable, but I think he's a ways away from being a contributor.
He hit a 3 last night.
That's true.
He is by definition a contributor already. So maybe
Quite literally,
maybe like the definition of replacement level has been whatever Jordan Walsh has done in those minutes so far. But it's been fun. He hit a 3 last night, and it was like aggressive, off the catch, above the break. That's encouraging. But yeah, look, there's been I think the defense has been the best thing about his minutes so far this season. Where we'll get the fact that I think we're gonna sleepwalk. Like my dream was to get him to 600 minutes, 630 for the Shea Brissett minutes. I think we're gonna get there easily by the end of the season. So that's hopefully that's a good thing. We don't get to the end of the 630 minutes and be like, oh well, it's time to start looking at our next 37th overall draft pick that comes in.
Yeah, and that 3 brought him to the dizzying heights of 21% from 3
Let's
this
go.
year. So yeah, all right. Before we get out of here, we've got, I guess, a little bit of Schadenfreude if you want to jump in here, Jake.
Yeah, well, the Knicks lost to the Bulls last night, and in like dramatically painful fashion. Josh Hart fouled Kobe White on a 3 late in the game.
That almost happened to the Bucks too, dude. They almost lost to Detroit on a foul too, but he fucking gacked the free throws.
Dude, yeah, the Pistons. That was not a foul though, so the basketball gods, I thought,
it was
absolutely rewarded the Bucks correctly there. I don't know how they'd reviewed it and didn't come away like making the right call. Was it Ron Holland? Yeah, Ron Holland, I think.
Yep.
Man, he wasn't even close on either of the 2 free throw attempts. And he like completely short armed the next one. And his face throughout the entire lead up to the second attempt was like, damn. I think he saw him say, damn it. Oh, and then the Bucks broadcast, like the Bucks got a lead. Like Giannis hit a 3, I think, in overtime. And they just panned to him, his face. And I was like, ooh, tough.
Poor rookie.
Yeah, and Giannis has like 60 points. But so, yeah, Bucks got away with that one. But Bulls blew it to the Bulls. They fall to what, like 4-6 now? And I tweeted something about how, like, because the Mikal Bridges numbers, like, they are, like, talk about the Jordan Walsh on-offs. The Mikal Bridges on-offs are a disaster. And he is supposed to be, like, their 3rd or 4th most important player. And I retweeted it saying, like, that Mikal Bridges trade may have cost them a chance at a title. Just because, like, to upgrade to the level of talent that is required to win an NBA title, especially when your best player, Jalen Brunson, it feels like he's come back down to earth as well. Like, he's not a 30 points per game on 60-plus true shooting. He's not really an offensive engine unto himself, plus the defensive issues. So you need to have, like, a real super team. People were like, Tatum can't be the best player on a championship team unless you surround him with incredible talent. Well, the Celtics did that and surrounded him with like an incredible team when they sleptwalked to the championship. They are very limited in what they can do to upgrade this team to a level that I think will be close to winning a title. And new friend, Jason Timpf, my new Twitter follow, was like, I think it could be premature to say that. And I almost was like, fuck, I better tweet out some like smart basketball stuff after this, because I was like, I'm just trolling Knicks fans, dude. Like, don't come in here with, you came in here with his analysis. I'm like, I gotta try and be a bit smart here. And I was like, I don't, crunch time 5 with Cat and Brunson, we've been over it, but that was a nice thing to see.
Yeah, for sure. Love to see it. And the problem for the Knicks is that Mikal Bridges plays with all their other best players a lot. So the fact his on-offs are like that horrid, I mean, it's obviously partially the Deuce McBride effect, Pride of West Virginia. So, he comes in for, he comes in for Mikal, and things start looking really good for the Knicks. But I mean, they could trade Robinson. That's one dude that they could try to upgrade, but they really don't have a ton of assets. They got some young players, and I don't think they're a second apron team either. So they could attach like Kolek, the other dude they drafted, who's Daddy,
baby, become.
And see if they could upgrade Mitchell Robinson. I don't know, but I feel like a team built around Jalen Brunson and Cat has some fundamental flaws that are probably not correctable unless you build a team that's like even better than the Celtics. Like, you need to find a spacing center who's an elite rim protector, and those dudes do not exist. So
unless you're the Celtics and you have 2.
Yeah, exactly. You just hoard them.
So that was beautiful. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you want to save the Ant discussion when we can kind of dig into it a little more, or do you want to jump into it quick?
Well, it's just the Blazers beat the Wolves 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Ant is like just exactly the guy that we thought he was, but we'll dive into that at a later date. Because I expect that to continue, but putting him where he was put by some people,
above Tatum. It's absolutely embarrassing that people had him over Tatum because he was hot for like 2 weeks in the playoffs. But I think that would be a fun little discussion to compare him to Tatum like pretty directly. So we'll save that one maybe for a Patreon or something. But hey, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Jake, buddy, pleasure as always, and we are out.